Welcome back to the Team Nerd Herd podcast, where our best advice is if you want to do it right, collect what you like. Now, Herd, we are super excited to bring you another Creator Spotlight interview, a segment we like to call, What If We Never Shut the F Up? Today you'll find out. Before we introduce our guests, let's go ahead and get a roll call to the rest of the Team Nerd Herd podcast. What's going on, JR? How's it going, my brother?
It's going good. Another day in paradise. How about you, sir?
Great.
I'm JR, Rogue's Law, Star Wars nerd, Marvel nerd, old school IDW fan, and straight up asshole. How are you doing, Ian? What you doing, my brother?
Yo, what's up? What's up, y'all? This is Hood Rat Comics. Catch me over there on Instagram, man. Just chilling. Just your schizophrenic collector of all things real and digital, man. Let's pass it down to Rob. What's up, Rob?
Thanks, Ian. It's Big Rob. Rob's Nerd here on Instagram, and I'm just chilling like you guys. I'm ready for this interview. Let's go on to Alonzo.
Thanks a lot, Big Rob. This is Alonzo, aka Comics and Pops. I am your comic book nerd as well as your pop culture fanatic, and I'm so super excited about today's interview. But before that, what's up, Steve?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I am Steve, hiphop's in me _comics_collectibles, and your 1/12 scale collector, comic book lover, and chaser of all things nostalgic. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our guests. You might have read his works in Powerless, in Alien Bounty Hunter, but we most definitely know for sure you've read the powerhouse tale of Canto. Team Nerd Herd, welcome our friend to the podcast, David Booher. Bring him on in.
What's up, guys? JR, I think you got it right. It's another day in paradise, right?
Pretty much.
That is right.
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here. As you can see, I'm sort of a little bit of a Canto fan myself.
That's right.
Buying all these slabs for, on the secondary market.
Fire.
Oh, there you go, man.
Yeah, right. Higher right now, David.
But you got them at a good price, David. Now they're like unaffordable.
That's Ian. You got to believe in your own work and invest in your own work. I bought all these books 2019, maybe early 2020, back when you didn't have to, look through the couch cushions to be able to afford it. And I just held on to them. I had no idea. I just like having them. But, here we are.
2021, right?
That's right. Here we are down the lane, and we are ready to go. So, David, there is a staple that we like to open up with here at the Team Nerd Herd, and we want to know, give us a little bit of your comic book origins, where it all started as far as introduction into comic books. Where did you start?
Sure. So, I as a kid, I didn't read I didn't read superhero comic books. I wasn't, a comic book shop kid. My exposure to cartoons was Far Side, Mad Magazine. I had a subscription to Mad Magazine, and I don't know if anybody read them back in like the 80s and 90s, but you could scour the margins, and there were little tiny cartoons in the margins.
Oh wow!
Sergio Aragonés, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, would draw a lot of them. That was my exposure. So I didn't actually get into comics until about probably 13, 14 years ago when I started going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
And I went as a TV and film fan, started to foray a little bit into comic books. I was starting writing around the same time. And I picked up this little indie IDW book that was called Lock and Key. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
It's still my favorite comic of all time. And, not having been steeped in comic books for most of my life, to pick that up and read it and see what was possible in storytelling and sequential storytelling in the comic book form really just completely changed my perspective on it. And so over the last, decade, I've gone back and I've read a lot of the sort of classics from, Watchmen to I'm on volume 4 of Sandman right now. Nice. And, reading contemporary comics, I read mostly indie comics. I don't really read the big two at all. I'm sorry. Who said they were a huge Star Wars? JR, huge Star Wars and Marvel fan. But I have read at least the first issue of High Republic,
Okay.
so
That
I'm
counts, that
enjoying that.
That counts.
Yeah.
And I pick up
Yeah.
sometimes what intrigues me. Yeah, so it's been about a decade of being into comics. I wrote my first one, was Powerless, which is, you can see a sneak preview of it right in the background, with Vault Comics. I think I pitched it in I want to say 15 or 16, and then eventually came out, I think, in 2017. So I actually pitched it to them before they were Vault Comics. They were a graphic novel publisher under a different name.
Oh wow!
And I ended up meeting them at shows. This is probably one of your questions, Alonso, right? How did I start there?
No, but this is great though. You're answering it. I mean, we're like this.
Yeah.
We're like this. We're in sync.
You're reading our
David,
minds.
where did you start your first comic? Well, it's an interesting story. You guys just take a breather.
It's all you, man. Go ahead.
So I pitched it to them, and they were starting to think about it, doing a single issue sort of floppy comic imprint to their company. And I pitched them on the idea, and it had resonated with them, and I started talking with them. And I had this wonderful development process, because at that time I really didn't know much about writing comics or what that even meant. I didn't know. I had never scripted a comic. And so I worked with Adrian Wassel as my editor, and really broadened my horizons as far as how to write a story in the comic format. And so I cut my teeth there. Then, did Alien Bounty Hunter with them, which was really exciting and fun process. Adrian and I co-wrote it together with inputs from some Hollywood folks, which was also a learning experience for me, to be able to, people say, I guess, serve masters. I don't know if I like that, but collaborate with a lot of different folks who come from, have a lot of different motivations, have different perspectives. They want to see different things in it. So it was a really fun process. They gave us a lot of creative liberty to sort of craft the story.
Yeah, good. Can I ask you a quick question about that one, David, regarding Alien?
No questions. No questions.
Oh, no, man.
If you need to, we can mute his mic.
Please. Done. This interview is over.
No, I was going to ask you, I know with Alien Bounty Hunter, I believe, in talking to you back in 2017, Mark Wahlberg was involved with this particular book, and it was, I guess, going to be something that he was going to make into a movie, or at least star in. So with that in mind, did you kind of develop it as like a screenplay-ish almost? Because I mean, reading the book and the art, I mean, it felt like it was an action movie.
I guess on the one hand, mission accomplished. And on the other hand, I always get kind of prickly about the idea of doing a comic as proof of concept for film and TV. We all know where the money is, and it's definitely not in comics. So I don't begrudge anybody for wanting to start out an idea and a story in a comics format. And I've talked to a lot of creators who are starting out and they come from Hollywood and the screenwriting, TV writing world, and they have great ideas. And every time I always emphasize to them, you have to reimagine your idea for a different medium, because it's, at this point, we are all so sophisticated as readers that we can see right through it. We can see right through what a comic is, supposed to be a movie, or if it's been adapted from a screenplay and just to readapt it back to a movie. Of course, I think about those things. I think about them with everything I do and all the time. But taking the mindset of making the best comic book that you can make, and then you get the freedom to remake it, hopefully, into a film or a TV show or TV pilot, whatever. Make the comic first. Make the best story you can first in that medium, and then run with it. I mean, that's I'm sure we'll talk about this, but that is absolutely the luxury that I have now with Canto, creating a comic book that Drew and I adore, and we now get to present again to a broader audience in a bigger way, in a different way.
And I can't wait for that. So, in gearing towards Alien Bounty Hunter, how did Canto present itself? How did you, transition into meeting Drew and getting Canto started with IDW?
So the conversations with Drew started. Now I think back to the before times, and I'm like, there was everything pre 2020, and then whatever has happened after that. So who knows, right? Time has no meaning. I think it was 2018, maybe June, July, August. I was going to do a short in an anthology, and I had become aware of Drew, I think through Instagram or Twitter or something, and I really liked his art. And he was doing a horror graphic novel horror series called The House, which I thought was really cool. And it's a World War II horror story set in the woods. And so I reached out to him on the short, and I said, "Are you available?" And he was finishing The House, so he couldn't do it. But then, and this is a story that will live on forever, I hope. He finished it, and he emailed me and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in working together on something?" And he sent me a tiny concept drawing of who would eventually become Canto.
Cool.
And it was probably not that far off from the final design. But I have to tell you, within a millisecond of that hitting my inbox and me reading that and seeing that image, I thought to myself, I don't care. I don't know who this character is, and I don't know what his story is, but we are telling it. I was just so viscerally reacted to that visual, that character design. It's like, I'm in. He had an idea. It was in sort of a couple paragraphs of how he thought the story would be, and it was very Dante's Inferno, and it was skewed much more adult. And I had by this time heard tons of things about the middle grade and middle school market is just catching fire, and everybody wants these books, these middle school books. And so I said, let's do an all ages. Let's do an all ages story. And then I sort of spun out the ideas, bringing in the Wizard of Oz, which I love, and meshing the ideas together, the inspirations together, and coming up with Canto. And I think the one choice that I always remember I made, and I consciously made this, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, I decided that we should tell a story, an adventure, a fantasy adventure, but the main character is not going on a quest for himself. He's going on a quest to help somebody else. And I thought, as a reader, I would automatically I would cheer for that character more loudly, and I would be more supportive of that character if it was a selfless quest than if it was something he was doing for himself. So we could have made the choice of his own clock getting damaged, and he's got to go out there and he's got to find the heart to save himself. But there's just something that resonated with me with the idea that he was going to go out there and risk everything to save somebody else that he cared about. And honestly, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I think that was a choice that just changed the whole trajectory of the story. And I think that's why readers respond to it. I think that's why they like him. He's cute, he's you want to protect him. But I say it with Baby Yoda and Grogu. I every time I see Baby Yoda, I just look at him. I'm like, if anything happens to this character, I'm going to flip a table. I just yeah, I know. We riot. So I wanted to create a character where people felt that way. And I mean, I hope there's somebody out there who says, I will flip a table if anything happens to Canto. So.
I'm about to do it right now.
I think it also very much resonates with everyone in the society and everything right now, just of putting other people in first, not necessarily. And it's hard for us because we all oh, I gotta do my job, do my work, do this and that. And we all want to be able to go, hey, I'm gonna do this for this person and put them ahead of myself. And I think that's kind of one of the things that, for me at least, when I read it, I was just like, reading that, I was just like, yeah, that makes me kind of, I don't want to be cheesy and go, makes me want to be a better person because I'm a heathen.
Be cheesy. Be so cheesy too.
But at the same
was gonna
time,
say,
it tugs on that string where it makes you want to go, like, you know what, I can do more to help other people. I don't necessarily need to be the person in the front. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a lot of comics out there that, and there's a lot of talk about storytelling and nuance and layers and characters. And Canto has built a lot of layers, I feel like, over the course of his full story, from Canto 1, Canto 2, and Canto 3 coming. But when you first meet him, it's like there's no, I don't want to say complexity because that makes it sounds like, you know, it's not good. There's no, he has no reservations. He made this choice, and this is a choice he's going to do. And if anybody sort of questions about it, he's like, well, of course I'm going to do this, right? And I think that's another sort of endearing aspect to him. I call it naive courage. He doesn't know what's out there, but he doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to do it. I don't care how dangerous it is. I'm going out there and I'm going to do this.
So David, for me, I mean, you're absolutely right. I love the story because of its heart, of the sacrifice that Kanto's willing to do, and the art really takes that on. I mean, you see Canto, you never see his face, you see his eyes, but his eyes are always so innocent and full of wonder when he's looking at everything in his journey, and his heart is always in the right place. He's making every decision throughout the entire story for another person. You know, he doesn't see everything. Well, he does see like bad and good, but he sees more good than anything else. And it resonated with me. As soon as I read the first issue, I was like, I want more. This is so different, and I fell in love with the character. It was one of the things, like, and Ian can attest to that. Back in 2019 for San Diego Comic-Con, the Canto variant sold out in like minutes, and in preview night, and
it was 6.
It was 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Who's
Yeah.
counting?
Who's counting?
It was something like that.
And
Who
but I
remembers
was
that?
in line. I was in line somewhere else because I was stuck in that line and I couldn't make it over to IDW. But Ian, he went over there. He got in line and was able to get the book. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, I needed to have it because it just
amazing.
was so moving. Like I loved it so much that I needed to complete the set, you know?
So, fun story about San Diego Comic-Con in 2019.
Gotta love it.
So for the folks that have sort of joined the Canto adventure a little bit later, Canto #1 hit shelves in June of 2019, so the month before Comic-Con. And Drew and I we're basically not known creators. And we're watching the pre-order period, which is about 3 months, 2 months before, starting March, I think, late March, early April of 2019. And we're watching it. It's kind of gaining steam, and we're looking at each other like, what's happening? What's happening? We're like, don't make any sudden moves because you might disturb something. It came up to June, sold out. Went to San Diego Comic-Con in July, and we had no idea what to expect. We both were there, and it was preview night on Wednesday night. I'm out having dinner. Remember that, you guys? Remember going out to dinner?
I missed that.
Yeah.
What? What's that?
Soon we can do that again.
Oh my God, I hope. But we were having dinner on preview night. It was around 5:45, whatever, 6 o'clock. Floor opens at 6. I thought, I've got time. I don't need to be 3 hours on the floor. So I'm gonna go in, roll in like 6:30. We'll finish dinner. And I'm walking into the convention. And I think it was like 6:15, 6:20. And I get a text from my editor who's at the booth at IDW. And he says, hey, good news. I think Canto's sold out. I'm like, what? You mean for Wednesday night that what you've allotted? It's like, no, for the convention.
Yep.
It's like 6 minutes. It was gone. And I think kids were trampled, and it was just a chaos. It was chaos. And I wasn't even there. I never got to see a copy of it until like Friday of San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah, I walked up to the booth. David, and they told me, do you have any more Cantos? We're like, no, that sold out in like 5 minutes. So maybe faster.
They
you
did.
know?
Somebody
I was
said
like, really?
that to me in the booth. I think it was like Friday or Saturday. I would go by. Somebody pulled me aside and was like, "Oh my god! If one more person asks me about Canto, I'm gonna lose it." Yeah. The people at the booth. I guess everybody's walking up there.
Canto was a silent hit, man. It was a silent hit of San Diego Comic Con. That got loud. You know.
It was just, and I mean, we can talk about the story and how much we love the story, and I think everybody knows by now that Drew and I were going to do this comic no matter if it was successful, if it failed. We just loved this character so much, and we loved the story so much. But it really is, I'll fanboy out a little bit because it really was just an extraordinary moment for both Drew and I, who have been toiling at this for a long time, to, that Friday of Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, we had a signing for an hour, and people were sending us photos as we were walking over there. The line was like around the booth. And mind you, these are two guys who had never had anything like that. We did some books, but it was nothing like that. And to have that happen, both Drew and I just are, constantly thanking our lucky stars at how something like this, IDW took a risk on it, we took a risk on it, to have something like that happen that allows us to continue telling the story that we've intended to tell this whole time, these future arcs and everything. It really, it's great. We stay grounded and just really enjoy being able to tell the story.
A quick interjection on my part here. Quick question. I see a Legend of Zelda book behind you. Was ever that a? Yeah, there you go.
It's not a.
That's a game.
It's a game. I wasn't sure that.
It's actually my brother. Yeah, my brother has
it's great.
Company that makes. It's not. I wish it was great. Okay. A company that makes protectors for vintage video games, Funko Pops. It's called Collector Protector, collectorprotector.com.
I know,
but
man.
He made this case for. It doesn't even have the cartridge. I gotta invest in an actual thing, right?
I think the box is worth more than a cartridge, probably. Yeah.
I know, and my brother knows all about. There's 5-screw versions, 3-screw versions. There's this the circle logo. There's the oval.
All I know is it had the gold cartridge in it. That's all I know.
I am such a classic Nintendo. I love it so much that I'll work.
So my question
is. But
Is that particular game an inspiration for the book? It does remind me a little bit of Zelda.
I think so. I think it's a mix of all the fantasy games that I played when I was young, plus all the 80. I mean, you can. I'll start going through all my stuff on these shelves, but never any story.
Yeah,
by Atreyu.
That also gave me nightmares.
That would give you nightmares.
That turned into dreams, Alonzo. That turned into dreams.
A child's movie.
You probably got nightmares from Legend too, huh?
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, I love Legend.
Or Labyrinth.
Yes.
Dark Crystal, Return to Oz, all those things that just.
Return to Oz is scary as hell.
Yeah, that one I'll give you.
They masqueraded as kids' movies. And they were kids' movies because they didn't have swearing, they didn't have graphic violence, they didn't have sex and all these things that are disqualifiers. But man, when you were watching it as a 10-year-old and 9-year-old, you're just like looking out the side of your corner of your eye for your parents to come in the room because this has to be something they don't want you to be watching because it's so scary, right?
Yeah,
and that's what gives you the kind of like I want to do.
It still creeps me out, those films, but yeah.
But still, a lot of those movies also, at least my parents would watch those movies because they're so well done. And it's just like with Canto, like none of us are young here on the panel. We're all in our 40s, and this book is aimed for kids, but it doesn't feel like it's not like, okay, I'm gonna play it down to a kid's level. The art is phenomenal. Your writing is great. The fact that it's based on Wizard of Oz, and I mean, we're just going like, this is just, it hits like all these marks of what makes a good book, and it keeps us engaged.
We specifically, when we were telling the story, we specifically set out to create those kind of layers. So Drew likes to say one of his favorite movies was the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action.
Okay.
So in the early 90s, I think. And that's a kind of movie you just watch and you can take something else from later in your life and take something else from even those 80s movies we just mentioned. There's things about Neverending Story. It's about bullying and finding your own power and, getting over loss of, Bastion's mother and that sort of thing. And those are the layers that you take as you get older. And I think that's sort of what we set out with Canto, was to create layers that different, like kids are going to see it as a fun adventure where he's trying to go and save the one he loves, right? And he's got to go get a heart. And he's monsters, he's befriended by a Malorix creature and he's got to go fight monsters. And then he faces the evil wizard and, comes back and leads his people to freedom. But then there's a lot about loss and selflessness and empathy. And as we go along, it's about storytelling and what we take as adults from stories versus what we take as children and how stories serve us in different parts of our lives and that sort of thing. So yeah, it makes me really happy to hear that, JR, when it's, something that can hit a broad audience in sort of different ways.
You know what I like about Canto, David, is that every time I read it, Canto actually reminds me of somebody, right? It reminds me of my nephew Eddie when he was a little dude and he's bumping around things, and he was just real good-hearted kid. He still is, and my son, he's just brave. Like you're like saying like that. They don't know they're brave and courageous.
Naive courage,
right?
Yeah.
Naive courage, right? Like was Canto written after somebody you love or?
Oh, what a question! One I haven't gotten before.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's an amalgamation of different people I know who inspire me, plus sort of aspirational for me. I think we all sort of work on being selfless, like JR was saying, and to have a character, to be able to write a character like Canto that, has sort of achieved the selflessness almost to a fault. It's maybe that's sort of my inspiration for him, but I couldn't pin it on anybody specifically. I guess that will please everybody or displease everybody. I've done my job.
No, but it's to your point. I mean, you're aspiring to be, and obviously you are because you've written this tale. It's really very uplifting. He's very selfless. It's powerful. It's a story of hope, a story of love and friendship, and putting yourself at risk. And Canto knows that he has to do this, and he's just going out to, help others. And I think in this type of world that we live in, more stories need to be pointed in that direction. I know for an adult reader, it really sinks in when you really read it, and it makes you look at certain things that you want to aspire to be. But as a young reader, it kind of shapes and molds those morals and instills those things that should be done, because times are changing. And I think Canto is such a beautiful tale, and it really exudes those qualities. So I think you're, going in the right direction, David, for sure, because that's totally how I feel when I read this, and it's a breath of fresh air, definitely.
Oh, well, thank you. Hopefully we can bring it to even bigger audience, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, sure.
So how was it, man? How was it like moving in that direction towards the big studios, and you got Will and Jada Pinkett Smith picking you guys up? I mean, what
just blowing the doors off, Ian? You just walk in there And you're just
It's
like, don't
I
you
mean, we're
know
there.
who I am?
You know,
like,
Off goes the dynamite. Boom.
no. Yeah. No, I mean, so of course we've had aspirations for this story to make the leap to another format for a long time, right? So we, have had conversations and we were talking about it, and then Westbrook Studios ended up getting into the mix on it, and they just share the same vision that we have, that we share with the story. They just love it. They see the hope, they see the courage, they see the potential for it to be appealing to a broad audience, more outside of comics. And so they were really gung-ho about it, and they really wanted us to be part of it, to preserve our vision. So that's sort of how it came about.
I'm
So
super
hopefully,
excited.
yeah. So I'm hoping that since you are going to be executive producing and also writing the script, is it going to deviate at all from what we've read in the comic, or is it going to be a brand new story?
Always trying to get that scoop, Lonzo.
Maybe. I have a very specific idea about how I would adapt it, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm getting the opportunity to adapt it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a version of what you read in that first story arc in the film. So, I mean, I say it's going to be. It's like, waltzing in the room. Don't you know who I am? And they're like, yeah, you're the writer.
Yeah.
Now let the adults talk.
So when we start watching it, at what point do we sync up to Dark Side of the Moon? Because I know it's the lion, the third roar in the lion with MGM for Wizard of Oz.
So I'll tell you right now.
Oh,
okay, let's go.
You're witnessing this, Team Nerd. Put the music on.
Over Black. We've lost all our stories. Start it.
Perfect.
There you go.
We'll do that.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Guess what I'm doing tonight?
I could just see you like in the big chair, the big back chair in front of a fireplace, with the jacket on. You know what I mean? With the scar. Yep, pipe.
Yeah,
That's exactly.
I could just imagine though, David, like how dope it's gonna be. I just can imagine how dope it's gonna be when you see written by David Booher and Zucker and produced by David Zucker. It's gonna be dope, right? Like,
big screen.
Can't wait to that moment, man. Like, right?
I mean, I can't even think about it, honestly. I just have to. I mean, we got more issues of Canto to make, guys. So I just have to. I would. Yeah, I want to know. I think it's going to be. I think I'm gonna. I'll cry. That's what I'll say.
Oh. I know I will.
I would too.
Depending on if it is streaming or if it's a theatrical release, who knows how it's all eventually going to shape up. I would love to do, even if it's streaming, get permission from whoever the streamer is to do like a special screening or something so that we can do it on the big screen. And
there you go.
That's what it's going to be like.
That would be awesome, dude. Like
his heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Just
go ahead, JR.
Say, do that at Comic-Con, and then I forget the creature's name, the Marlax. I always forget Malarex. Sorry,
you threw me off. I'm like, oh my god.
Sorry.
Malarex.
Just have a stuffed animal of that. Then we can all run around, be our own Cantos with our Marlax. Guys, I am fully ready. I'm not ready, but I'm ready for a 6-year-old dressed up in cosplaying Canto, like running around a con and all the little armor.
God. Yeah, I would need.
If that ever happened in a booth or a signing or anything, that's when you'll see a grown man cry.
That'd be awesome. Or 4 of them.
Yeah,
I think that may happen in 2020, David. Like for sure.
I am not dressed up as Marlax.
Or 2022, right? 2021 or 2022, whichever the cons happen at, right?
Here's a follow-up question.
Everybody should. If you cosplay Canto, you're perfectly safe, right?
Right.
You can do it right now.
That's what we were saying. Like, like San Diego Comic Con, instead of doing November, they should do it in October, and everybody be wearing masks anyway, right? Like,
We gotta
Always,
print the Canto face shield on a mask and just
there
have
you
that.
there you
Big
go,
giveaway.
man.
I'll wear that proudly. Big Rob, you had a question?
Yeah, I guess for the like actual Canto merchandise, don't we need merchandising for Canto in the future here, like action figures, toys,
Funko
statues.
Pops.
Yeah,
We're sort of relentlessly pursuing that all the time. It's difficult. Merchandising can be really challenging.
yeah.
So we're looking for the right partner, and when that right partner comes along, I'll
So
dig
I'm
into
kick-
my cabinet back here.
Do you have it?
Uh-oh.
You have it, a little statue? Because I'm kicking myself for not buying it.
From the vault,
Well,
guys.
It didn't. Here's the ornaments they did.
Oh, those are so
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
Those are cool, right? And then the
That's
big
pretty.
size.
You saw that little statue on your Instagram, and I really hate myself for not.
You mean this guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that is
so
amazing.
Wow.
I really regret
So-
not getting that.
What was that? What was that, Rob?
And
Is
then
it
Instagram. As soon as I caught
I didn't. It wasn't offered. It wasn't offered for sale. It was
offered?
a commission
Oh,
that I did of
really?
a limited number of like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they all went into sort of private collections.
Oh,
We're doing
dude.
another pose that's based on this number one first printing issue,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have like 10.
I thought I
think.
missed out on it. I was
Wow.
like, oh no, where did I?
No, I've had
where
so
was I
many people
sleeping?
message me. There may be one of the 10. There's a certificate of authenticity that I've signed that says this is number 10 of 10 resin statues of Canto. There may be that 10 of 10 that I might offer
So
to populate. I don't know how I'm going to do this
Charity auction.
because so many people have asked me about
auction,
it.
a charity auction probably good.
Oh, that's gonna go for some bucks. I would just say, send me 1 Bitcoin for that. You can have it.
What's that word? Well, today it's worth what? And then when I send it to you, it'll be worth what?
Yeah, no, right? You see, David already knows, right? So let me ask you a question: like, how dope would a hot toy be of Canto?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Dude,
geez,
I would be on it.
I mean, like they're missing out by not making a Canto. You know?
This is so bad. I haven't been to a convention in so long. Remind me of Hot Toys. What do they make? Alien?
Rob.
Go ahead. Rob will show you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like super high ends.
Super,
Yes.
yeah, it's pretty high end
figures.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, we would love it. I mean, we can do all kinds of different things with merchandise if we find again the right partner. I think Canto has been it's been such a sleeper comic story and character that we are constantly, even now, still fighting to get more people to pick it up, to get more people to recognize the potential.
That's
The
crazy.
folks that are fans of it are so passionate about it. I just think there's a lot of opportunity out there. It's just Funko, we think you could sell 1,000 of these like right off the shelf
Oh, yeah.
and do a limited one.
Without question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people will buy it just by not even knowing what the story is. It's such a dope. I mean, it's such a
Cool
dope character, the way it
design,
looks
yeah.
and cool design and everything else.
Yeah.
It would be
Look,
off the shelves.
This is all gonna the whole scenario will change once momentum starts on the movie and stuff. And Funko does a lot of TV and film and your classic properties and all these things. Once there's a film backing this character, they're going to be all over it. So it's just a matter of time. Hopefully, who said Bitcoin? Hopefully that goes.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Alongside that, right?
Yeah.
I can also see it end up being like a game too. I mean,
Yeah.
you can
Oh,
easily
for
make like
sure.
a miniature type game based around it. Hero
They-
Clicks
like,
could do
yeah.
something like that.
I would like Cuphead. Do you know Cuphead?
Oh yeah, that's such a hard game.
I want a Canto game that's like that
Cuphead?
Cuphead. It's like a throwback
Oh.
modern.
That would be
kinda
so cool. That would be
Ghouls
so.
and ghosts. He already
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Totally,
character, right?
totally. Yeah.
How dope of a video game would that be, man? On like
Ghouls and
PS, whatever, PlayStation, and
Oh no! Put on Nintendo.
Steam.
Oh yeah.
Nintendo, right?
Nintendo, yeah.
But
Switch.
that's where that would go. Is Nintendo. Think about this: Super Smash Brothers with Canto.
Oh, I would love
I mean,
that.
how cool would that be? Running around and having him beat up on Mario.
Yeah, just opening his heart and the burst of blood just shoots Mario all the way to space. Bam, gone. I totally agree, David, that a broader audience, Kanto is going to be a meteoric success, and it is gonna invade homes of families, because once they get a chance to really see this heartfelt story, it starts with the story, but to see it in live, not live action, but animation right in front of your face, I think it's going to be much more, and it's going to be meteoric, because I mean, the first, I gotta say, I see your love for the Wizard of Oz, because you got, If I Only Had a Heart, then you had Hollow Man paying your homage to Scarecrow, and then now you're moving into the third arc with Lionhearted, and
What?
I know.
Good.
I am around the cooler when it comes to the comic book shop, so we are talking. But I really think that this is going to be the biggest thing.
I just think it's so cool that I just want to thank all of you guys for spreading the word, and all the readers out there and everybody who's listening who's picked up Canto, because I thought when we were first conceiving of this story, I had the broad story in mind for all these different story arcs. I know exactly how it's going to end, and I know how it's going to unfold. And I had these story arcs for these different, like you said, the first one's the Tin Man, the second one's the Scarecrow, third one's the Lion, the fourth one's going to be, about, kind of Dorothy-esque to it, and, about home and that sort of thing. And I'm constantly in awe that we have the opportunity to be able to do this, to tell the story that we wanted to tell in the long form that we wanted to tell it. So much so that IDW committed back in January for us to be able to finish this entire story over the next 2 years.
Oh, that's very
great.
cool.
I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the announcement, but yeah, IDW renewed us for City of Giants, Lionhearted, and then A Place Like Home, which is Canto 4. And that's going to wrap it all up. And we'll see what happens after that and where the story goes and the character goes. But that's what we envisioned this full story to be. And to be in a place to have enough readers wanting this story to continue, that we get to tell this, is just, it's an extraordinary feeling. So thank you to everybody who has spread the word and helped, share the love for Canto and this character to help us tell the story that's truly meant to be told.
Hey man, but David and you and Drew are awesome, man. I mean, every time I've met you guys twice. I know you've seen like me and Rob come by people like me and Rob always coming by your booth all the time.
I mean, it's gotten awkward. I wasn't going to say anything.
I know, man. Yeah. But you guys have always been super, super nice and gracious to us, man, out in the Comic-Con world, and at shops, and you've always been gracious with your time. You came over to Matthias' shop over at Nowhere Games and Comics in San Marcos, and that's pretty far from you. I think you're out in LA, right? So you drove all the way out there for us, man. So I appreciate it.
Matthias has been such a huge supporter, Rob.
I met you at Kamikaze in Liberty Station down in downtown San Diego. And I remember I bought my first 2 copies of Cancel 1 and 2 from you directly.
Oh, at Kamikaze.
Yeah, the Liberty Station.
I have to tell you the funniest story about, I think, I forget the owner's name. Unfortunately, I think he's passed.
Yeah, Robert passed away.
Yeah. But I got to meet him. Wonderful, wonderful guy. He set up a table outside before, I think it was a Wednesday signing before Comic-Con in 2019, right?
Yeah.
And everybody has a story like every Canto collector has a story like this. I had a whole stack of those first prints.
Yep.
I was there. I followed you from the car.
We talked about that. We talked about that, David.
Embarrassing number, and I had a bunch left over.
Yeah.
And I went to Rob at the shop, and I was like, I was really nervous about this, and I said, if I sold you like 5 copies for like $5 a piece. Do you think you could sell them? And without missing a beat, he's like, yeah. And he gave me the money. And he took the 5 copies, and I'll never forget that. This like $1,000 worth of comics right now. And I just think back to them. Oh,
Dude, I was at San Diego Comic-Con. I remember because I didn't get number 1. Matthias is the one. I asked him, Matthias, what should I read? And he gave me all the second and third prints of 1 through to the end. I think it was 5, right? 1 through 6, right? Of the first Canto run. And I didn't have any first prints. So when I went to Comic-Con, I think I had got the second print that week. And then I went to Comic-Con and there was a stack of number 1s. And we talk about that all the time when you were signing over there at the IDW booth. And I'm like, I should have just got like 3 or 4 of them. I was like, dude.
I had so many, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it because everybody who gets a number 1, who got a number 1 at that time, got the chance to read the story. So I don't regret any of it. I had a big stack of those number 1s, and you know what? And the reason it is where it is right now is because it took time for people to get on board with the story and sort of follow the story. So I think it's sort of poetic that first printing is, where it is right now, because as all the speculators say, people, you sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. I don't love that phrase because I don't think it's super accurate, but people, you got on board early. This is, you have this collection that you're immediately going to flip on eBay right now. But
Oh no! Oh my god! I still have all of mine, and you can tell there's wear because I've been like reading
You signed
it.
all of mine. You signed 1 through 6 of mine, and I'm not giving it up, man.
oh my god, I love this. Yeah, I've got friends. Oh my god, sell. So my husband, it's like, are you going to sell any of them?
That's my book.
I know. So I show him eBay, and he's like, okay, so how many are you going to sell? It's like,
You wait a minute. You have more?
Never.
I have.
Stay away, Alonzo.
Stop, Alonzo. Stop right there.
Okay.
I don't want you to speculate on what I have, Alonzo.
A drawer full of them.
So just
I know, and I just pull up a huge box.
I know.
my
Here
heart
they
would be-
are. I'm controlling the market.
No, but then I show you like 100 first prints, and the price goes tanks.
Yeah.
Never.
But the market.
That's what happened with Deadpool.
Just kidding. I do not. I will clarify this for everybody who's out there. I do not have 100 copies. I don't have 50 copies. I don't have 20 copies.
Why are you winking, David?
It's because I have 1,000 copies. No, I'm just kidding.
Somebody does out there. Somebody does have.
Can
somebody's
you
hoarding them.
tell us a little bit of the next arc for Canto? Lionhearted?
Synopsis.
Yeah, so we have the 3-issue mini, which is Canto and the City of Giants.
Okay.
Which, if you can remember back to last year in, oh my god, I can't remember now when it came out. Was it July? Clockwork Fairies.
Oh, that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, July.
That was around July.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys! Thank you for that. It came out. It was just a one shot, so it was. I call it one of Canto's side quests. Again, going back into the video game parlance. So it was a side quest. City of Giants is a similar type of thing, where it's it's sort of a side quest that we have broken out into 3 issues with our fabulous guest artist Sebastian Perez, who is just absolutely killing it. He just finished the art on issue 2 that's coming out in May, and it's everything that it gives you all the feels from Canto, and that's what we wanted. That's Canto goes to the City of Giants to recruit allies in his coming war against the Shrouded Man. And as you know from the first arc and also the second arc, he has some potential allies in the 2 giants who were the Guardians of Dis. And he goes to the City of Giants. He is tasked with a quest to win the approval or the favor of the royalty that runs the City of Giants. And they all are sort of the same mentality. I said this before. I've said this before, but my inspiration for the Giants was Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets. So,
Oh, great.
Awesome.
so they all sort of feel that way, and they all sort of act that way.
So I should feel at home then.
Yeah,
They're
So-
curmudgeons.
total curmudgeons, and they just look down. Canto's this big, and the Giants are this big, and they look down on him. Did you hear something? Must have been the wind. So he does this. He goes. He completes that. Well, things happen. Hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
And then Canto 3 comes along. It's Lionhearted, and Canto is continuing his quest to amass the forces that he needs in his final confrontation against the Shrouded Man. But this time it's a much more complex situation. I don't know how much you guys want to know.
Everything.
Everything. Whatever
Okay.
you can tell us.
Well, I mean, you learn this in the first issue. You learn that Canto and Allura the warrior are working together to try to find where the slavers have gone into hiding from the Shrouded Man, because they learn that the Shrouded Man is also going after them to either eliminate them or recruit them on his side. So Canto and Allura have to go find them first and convince them to fight alongside Canto and his people for the freedom of everybody in the unnamed world. And you can imagine the complexity that is involved with trying to convince Falco and Ricta that they need to fight alongside these creatures that used to enslave them. So there's going to be a lot of complications, a little bit of conflict, and a lot of adventure. We took a lot of inspiration from Viking culture, and we're going to, I don't want to say anything more.
Yeah.
We're going to somewhere else in the unnamed world we've never been before. And our inspiration for a lot of it is Vikings. So it
Cool.
should be very
So-
cool.
And then
I'm just. Oh, go ahead, Alonzo.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I am definitely looking forward to it. I also want to know what else you have coming up. I mean, you did go on IG and posted a picture that's right by JR about maybe a new book that might be coming out.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Somebody must have hacked my Instagram. I don't know.
Oh,
It would be Alonzo.
Yeah, so it's a very different story, but it's one I am equally passionate about and just love. We're just a little bit early to be able to talk a whole lot about it, including where it's going to be published. But I brought together an all LGBTQ creative team to create a big sci-fi romp. So it's funny, it's comedic. That's inspired by sort of the 1950s Planet Comics, Buck Rogers type stories and comics, and it features LGBTQ characters. So my dad joke when I pitch it is I like to call it Guardians of the Galaxy, and I will
Wow.
leave you with that.
wow.
There you go.
Nice.
Right there. That's the winner pitch, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what else can you say about it? It's like everybody knows Guardians of the Galaxy. When I say LGBTQ creative team gets together, it makes Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just like, all right, let's do it.
Love it.
Yeah, nice
Yeah,
one.
I can't wait. I cannot
Well,
wait.
it's actually going to be announced in end of May. I want to say
Mhm.
we got an
Alright.
incredible team of cover artists on it, and just super cool. I'm really excited about it.
We
I
will
was
be-
gonna.
Oh, go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna ask. Was Falco taken from like the '80s music? From I forget the guy's name. The artist Falco.
No,
Put it on the Ritz.
Yeah, put it on the Ritz. The song.
maybe that was in the back of my mind, but Falco and Ricta and Verada, totally made up names.
Okay.
But I always have remembered. Is it who's JR?
I'm
Star
JR.
Wars.
Yeah.
Clato. Nikto, Klaatu, Nikto,
The Day That Earth Stood Still.
and Barada. They're all bounty hunters in Star Wars. But they're also they're from the day the Earth stood still.
Yeah, that's the phrase.
It's I think I forget what the phrase was from Day the Earth Stood Still, but they're bounty hunters in Star Wars, and also Ash in Evil Dead. Yeah. No, was it Army of Darkness?
Army of
Darkness.
He's reading the book and he says that. That's always stuck with me. So Klaatu, Nikto, and
he goes, brr.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's sort of where the inspiration came from for the names. I thought that was such a poetic trio that Italian and Dante and the early Italian that he used in Latin sort of informs a lot of the things you'll see in City of Giants. That there's something in particular that we put in. It's a little editor's note that is a little bit translation of some of these high dialect words that have seeped into the culture.
Mm-hmm. And then also, will there ever be? Because whenever I think of Wizard of Oz, I think of Judy Garland. Will there ever be any little nod to her, kind of hidden Easter egg somewhere in there, in any of the books, or is there one?
So, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a lawyer in my day job, and I have to say that is very unlikely because while the copyright of the 1900 book has expired and it's in public domain, the movie is not. So I just have to, we just are very careful to focus directly on everything that comes out of the book. The most famous thing that came out of the movie is the ruby slippers.
Right.
Because in the book they're silver. And then in the movie, also the Emerald City is not emerald. It is regularly colored, but they force everybody to wear glasses with the emerald lenses.
Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there might be some more nods and Easter eggs. Look, I think MGM has Wizard of Oz. Whoever just announced they're doing a remake on Wizard of Oz, they have the rights to it. Warner Brothers, maybe. If we end up at Warner Brothers, look, we can put as many little Easter eggs as we want.
I think it's MGM because it's the lion that I always think of.
Right.
It's what do you call Pink Floyd reference.
So yeah, if we land with the movie in the right place, we might be able to put in a fun nod to Wizard of Oz. Incidentally, I didn't see this chatter online, but did anybody you all watch WandaVision?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Last episode, did everybody pick up on the Wizard of Oz
the
reference?
Yeah.
With the car and the legs?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the red shoes?
Yep.
I just didn't see anybody tweet about it. Everybody was outraged about something else, so must have skipped it.
No, us super nerds, we caught that.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Oh yeah, we were
Super
talking about
nerds.
that. Yeah, we wear it with pride, David. But my follow-up
I
question
love it.
is, David, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
No part of me is ready, Steve, but
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to roll out and we're going to start it off. I will go ahead and start it from the bottom and we'll work our way back up. So, if there is
I'm terrified, by the way. Go ahead.
Is there a person that you would like to collaborate in any future projects as far as an artist that you have not worked with, and who would that be? That's my rapid fire question.
I would like to ask a follow-up question.
Can I put
Can we
Does it have to be an
object?
artist? Can it be a creator?
Definitely. It could be anybody.
I'm going to say yes, there is somebody, but I can't. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering.
No,
It's a
you're good.
person, but I don't want to identify that person for
Okay.
reasons that I can't disclose.
Okay. Oh.
Done.
Okay.
All right.
So would that be abstain?
I'm 0 for 1, guys. Alonzo, go ahead and
He
ask.
pleaded a fifth. He pleads the fifth.
I know he pleads the fifth. All right.
There's just some other things that are percolating that are
problem.
Okay.
dream come true projects, and So the answer to your question is yes, there is someone,
Well,
and
perfect.
yes, you'll find out who that person is.
I just want to interject. Can we have you back on when those come out?
No.
Okay.
And that's your question, JR. I'm totally kidding. I would love to. I would love to come back on you guys. Of course, whenever you want me. I mean, you'd be like, good. We don't want him.
Oh no, never. You're welcome back anytime.
If you could write any property that's out there, like any kind of book, for any kind of character, what would it be?
I see previous answer.
No.
Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding. There is something, but if I could do, I would want to write. Mind you, I don't read big two books. I would want to write Nightcrawler, and I would want to do Nightcrawler and out of canon story that I could do on my own and do the Vision, Mr. Miracle, Tom King sort of treatment with it. Dig way deep down and find out who this character is.
I could see
Nice.
that.
That would be awesome, and I would buy it.
Very nice.
And I already know the artist I want on it. So
Oh,
if things come to
do
pass,
I get a follow-up question?
No.
Sure.
No.
no.
Fine. All right,
Big
you're
Rob.
up, Big Rob.
All right. You already asked my question, so I guess I should ask a silly question. Domino's or Pizza Hut?
Oh, Pizza Hut.
All right.
All right.
Oh, damn.
All right.
I'm sorry, Domino's, if you're going to sponsor anything that I'm doing. I love the pizza.
Yeah, we got a sponsor for the Canto movie. It's
I know
Domino's.
they're going to have a partnership and they'll be like, but you did that podcast in 2021. You picked Pizza Hut.
How much do you like Pizza Hut? You're all not at all.
Pizza what?
Yeah. Ian,
All
hit
right,
him with it.
David. All right, David. So say it's a Friday night, and me and my wife decide to say, hey, let's go on Saturday to go
It just
see
gets
David.
It gets more
Me-
awkward, Ian. More and
Yeah,
more
man.
awkward, dude.
That's my middle name, man. So me and my wife go in there, and I call you up and say, Dave, hey David, man, let's go meet up for dinner. And you're like, okay, meet me here. Where would you take us out to dinner at?
I mean, if you guys are into sushi, I probably would go to sushi.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there a particular sushi restaurant you take us to, man?
I mean, kabuki, if you're nasty.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Little Miss Jackson.
I really like sugarfish is great, but if
Oh my
you
God,
wait an
sugarfish
hour
is
outside,
amazing.
I refuse to wait an hour outside. So kabuki is kind of, to me, the balance between, being able to go and eat your weight in sushi and have it be good still. So
Gotta try it. Gotta try it.
Cool.
have you just canceled our date, Ian?
No, man, I'm a bro. I'm part. I got Hawaiian in me, bro. Like, I'm all about that fish, man. Nastier the better, bro. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
That's not this guy right here, man.
So I'm gonna go back to the '80s for you. Labyrinth or Legend? If you had to pick one.
I was Legend immediately.
Easy
Yeah.
enough.
Wow, that was like the.
I mean, I love Labyrinth.
Oh, no.
Labyrinth, but Legend for me was like the stuff that you have that I think about still.
Oh no,
now.
Tim Curry's the man.
Tim Curry's
He
the
was
man.
he was amazing in that.
Which one was the one with Tom Cruise in it?
That
What was
Legend.
that?
Legend.
Legends, right? Yeah, Legends.
Yeah, but
He touches
Tom,
she touches the unicorn and she causes the apocalypse. And so Tom Cruise decides, I'm going to go try to save her. And I'll be like, what? She brought this on herself.
Was
Serves her
David
right.
Bowie in the other one? David Bowie's in the other one,
Dave
right?
Bowie is the God of the
Labyrinth.
King. Yes.
Dude, David
Yeah.
Bowie, bro.
Yeah, but Tim
I'm a
Curry as
David
the
Bowie
devil
fan.
is fucking amazing.
Oh, and at the end, when he's got the unicorn horn in one hand and his claws in the other, and he's being sucked back into the underworld, it's just like,
So great.
that's like, why don't we make movies like that now?
No,
I would have to agree. I'd have to agree. Well, David, you made it safely and soundly through the rapid fire questions and with a quickness at that, a real rapid fire question. But can you tell our subscribers where they can find you, whether it be on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook? We want to make sure that our subscribers know where you're at and where they can follow you, where they can follow future work and up and coming successes.
So, if anybody who's still listening to this has any desire to listen to me anymore, you can find me at David Booher on Twitter, at David M. Booher on Instagram. You can follow Canto Comic at Canto Comic on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm on Facebook. You can look me up on Facebook. Usually it's just like doubling what's on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. And I will be posting there for my future projects. And usually I'll create an Instagram account for each one of those projects just for fun and profit. So you can follow those and watch for that.
Perfect. And with that being said, would you like to take us out Team Nerd Herd style?
If you want to do it right, collect Canto. I'm just kidding. Collect what you like.